Okay, so we're going to pick up from where we left off. If you haven't checked out the last tutorial I did, then please check it out now. I'll leave a link to that in the description below. I am by no means an expert, but I can hopefully explain it to you the way you can understand it. Hopefully it's a bit different to other tutorials on YouTube that kind of overwhelm, because speaking from experience, I've noticed there's just no sort of tutorials kind of explaining some of the stuff. So yeah, this is where you go if you want to kind of get started. Alright, I will also mention that GameMaker is available for free right now on Steam. This version of GameMaker, you can make games for free, you can test them out for free and play them through the GameMaker tool for free. But if you're wanting to export them for other people to play and things, then you will need to pay a subscription fee, unfortunately, because yeah, they need to make money for their product, but also it used to be a one-time payment, but I guess, it is what it is. If you've completed your game and you just want to export it, what harm is it than flicking some cash their way? So yeah, if you want to export to Windows and Mac, that is a lot cheaper than exporting to a console. That's where things can get pretty expensive if you want to export to like Nintendo Switch or Xbox Series X or S, PlayStation 5, etc. So yeah, right, let's get started. I also forgot to mention in my last tutorial, please remember to save your games regularly that you're creating, your projects, because yeah, technology can't be trusted, alright? So just click Save Project. You can also, what I like to do is where it says Save Project As, just click that. And you can create a duplicate, keep our platformer project, but also, create a duplicate if you want. If you're too scared you're going to mess up that project, then you can just create a duplicate and start playing around. Really handy if you're like kind of treading into new territory that you're not too familiar with and you just want to kind of muck around and test things out. So let's pick up where we were. Right, so before we created 4 sprites, the background sprite included. But the ones we're going to be creating objects for today are sprite player, sprite ground, and sprite enemy. So we're going to go all the way up to the objects folder here, and see there's the Dorito is just a like outline. It's not a solid like the rooms one or the sprites one. That's because we haven't created any yet. So we're going to click the objects folder with the right mouse button. We're going to go to create. And instead of going all the way down to sprite like we did last time, we're just going to go to object here. Click on that. There we go, we've created our first object, object 1. I'm going to highlight this. Now you probably remember my lecture with naming sprites. I said always make sure you type the letters SPR underscore before you type whatever the thing is. So instead of writing just player, you'd have to write 3 letters beforehand. Now for an object, it's not SPR, it's OBJ. Okay? So, and then go underscore. Then write player. So anything that is in the objects folder, always remember to write the letters OBJ in front of it and then underscore. The reason for this is if you've got a object called player and a sprite called player at the same time, then GameMaker is going to get really confused and start throwing errors at you. So yeah, I already mentioned this in the first tutorial, but in case you didn't remember, I just mentioned it again. Right, so click here where it says no sprite. Click on the sprites folder. You only need to click once in this menu, and then click SPR player. Look, here's one we prepared earlier. Click on that. And that's done. We've created our first sprite, object, which is obj underscore player. So we're going to click this where it says object obj underscore player. We're going to click the X on that, get rid of it for now. We're going to do this 2 more times. Click on objects folder with the right mouse button, go to create, go across and down to object, Okay, rename this one. 10 points for whoever can use the first 3 letters. OBJ, that's right. And then we're going to write enemy. Right, so now we're going to click no sprite. And we're going to click sprites. And now we're going to click SPR enemy. Cool, so that one's done. Now click this one off as well. Where it says OBJ enemy. Just click the X there. Okay. Click right on the objects folder again. And go to create. Go across and down to object. Right, this one is going to be called obj underscore ground, because the enemy and the player can't have a epic battle if if they're floating around in space. Well, they could, depending on the game you want to make, but here we are making a platformer. So obj underscore ground, click on no sprite, go to sprites, click on sprite ground. Done. Except for there's one more thing you got to do before you click the X on this, and where it says solid, I want you to tick this box. It's really important that you have this checked because we want the ground to be solid so nothing can pass through it. Okay, so now we're going to click the X on it so we can get rid of it. There we go. Now we have 3 objects. We've got the player, the ground, and the enemy. That's perfect. That's exactly what we want. Now double click on your room again, just check it out. Now you probably remember when we put the background in, SPR background 001, we had this here selected in the top left in the room. It says background. So we can drag and drop the sprite background into the room. But we're not doing that. We're dragging and dropping objects into the room this time. So we want to make sure that instances is selected. And we can just grab the object player, drag it across, and just drop it into the room. Done. Okay, now we've got object ground. We're going to drag and drop that just one space apart from one another. So make sure that the player is just hovering over this ground block here. And then next, drag and drop enemy. Keep it at the same altitude as the player. Just keep it over this side. Keep them apart. They don't like each other. Okay, now we're going to zoom in on our ground block here. Okay, I want you to click it. And you see there's like a blue outline around it now. That means you can drag it this way and it will stretch it. So we can just pan across. There we go, that's the edge of the room. That's exactly what we want. Now we're going to drag this side to the edge of the right of the room. So we can zoom out for that and drag it across. There we go. I need you to stretch it right out like that. And so the player and the enemy are both hovering over it, one space apart from the ground. So that's exactly what we want. Right, next up, we're going to double click OBJ player. Alright, so you'll notice with our object player, or any object for that matter, see, there goes the ground, there goes the enemy, that there's a little node attached to it called events, and it's attached by a little noodle thing. This is kind of overwhelming at first, but it says add event, so you click that here, and this is what I meant by overwhelming. There's like create, destroy, all this stuff. Now the only ones you're really going to probably use, the ones I mainly use are create, destroy, step, key down sometimes, and key pressed, and collision. And I sometimes use draw to manipulate my animations later. That's way down the line though, from what we're doing. You know, once you've got a character and stuff. This is mainly just about creating the collision properties for the character and the enemy. It's cool to have a nicely designed character in that, but that's way later. What's important now is like we don't want a beautiful drawing to get stuck in walls or fall through floors or anything like that. So it's really important that we just keep everything simple, have like just little squares to begin with, right? and collision is one that I also use. Okay, so create, destroy, step, just the normal step, and key down is what we'll be using, and collision. Right, so this kind of confused me at first. We're going to try the key down thing. When you highlight this, see, I think when it says key down, I just think of the down key, but this means when you're holding a key down. So that's what that means. Key pressed is when you just press it in, and key up is when you release it. So that's what that means. We're just going to try key down for now. We're going to click, so go to the key down menu and go to left. Okay, and it'll prompt you with this here, and it can tell you to use GML code or GML visual. I can't actually remember this, and this is like beginner stuff, but this is how you start out if you want to learn like the basics. But I am going to jump straight into code because this is where you end up going anyway once you know what these things do. So yeah. We don't need no baby GML visual. We got code, right? Okay, we're going to go OK. Now we're going to click Add Event again. We're going to go to Key Down. And we're going to go across to Right. And keep it as GML code. Cool. Righto. So we're going to click on the left one here. There's this jargon up here at the top. Take no notice of that for now. Just going to delete it. Delete all of that. And now we're going to click on this one here, the right one. Oh, sorry, the left one, maybe. Which one hasn't got the... Oh, yeah, this one. Hasn't got... This has got writing in it. Delete that. Let's make sure they both have everything deleted. Cool. So, on key down left, we're going to write... I'll zoom in a bit. Hang on, there's something going on. There we go. Right. At the top here, we're going to type X. Okay. So, X is for the axis of left and right, okay? Y is for up and down. So if I go X minus 1, that is to the left of the object. So that would be to the left of the square block here. If I go X plus 1, that'll be to the right of this object here. So when it's in positive, it's on the right side. When it's in negative, that's right, it's on the left side. Now, so X is always left and right, okay? Y is up and down. So think of it this way. Y go up when X goes across. Think of it like that. So Y minus 1 is up. Y plus 1 is down. So right now it is saying above the object, right? And then if I go plus 1, it'll be below the object. So where am I going with this? Well, I want you to type in X minus equals 1, okay? So this is what happens when you hold down the left key, okay? So X, which is left and right, it could be either or, but we're going minus, which tells it, okay, I'm going left, because remember, minus is left and plus is right. And then equals 1. So by 1, actually, we're going to change that to 4, sorry. Change that to 4. So X minus equals 4, okay? That's a good number to start with. Right. Now, we're going to click on where it says key down right. Double click. Now, this code is new. If you double click left, it'll appear here. So that's the minus 4. If you double click right, we haven't written anything yet. So we're going to go X plus equals 4. Okay? I'm going to zoom out. So we're just going to test this out now. We're going to actually test out the game. So there's a plus button. I mean a play button here. Sorry, my brain is fried. I'm going to click that. I've reshot this a few times because I haven't quite got it right. I've overcomplicated it. This is our game screen. If you press and hold the left key, it goes left 4 spaces until you let it go. You press and hold the right key, it'll go right 4 spaces until you let it go. So you can actually change the speed of this. It's pretty fun, just playing around like that. So you can kind of got the like a bat for like Pong, I suppose. You could have like a ball coming down this way, and you got to move there, and it goes beep, and then bounces back up, and then bounces off of something else. So you could do that later, but so we've got the basic controls right. So this works with the arrow keys. That is pretty cool, pretty nifty stuff. Okay, so you can change and manipulate the speed of it. So we can go, okay, we're gonna go 14 instead of like 4. You double click left and change that to 14 as well. So yeah, so right is plus 14, left is minus 14. Okay, we're gonna play the game. Okay, you ready? I'm gonna press right. Whoa, look how fast that is. That's actually pretty cool. So yeah, that's pretty neat. That's just basic controls, left and right. Pretty cool. Okay, click this off. Okay, next up we're going to do gravity. So hold on to your hat for that one. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this little tutorial. Right, catch you later.